Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Pajama Sunday. How many of you wore your pajamas? All right. Thank you for participating. Anyway, this is the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. And so it is, and so we let it be. As we take this moment just to relax even more and be fully present in our comfort, in our joy, in our love, as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
From Loving Kindness by Sharon Salzberg. The radiant face of giving is one of the truly beautiful expressions of our own goodness. Let us delight in that goodness. The universal wish to be happy is beneficial. It is skillful. It motivates us to skillful action. Let us rejoice in our ability to make appropriate choices, to cultivate the good, to let go of that which harms and causes us suffering. This appreciation will give us the confidence and joy we need in order to keep practicing, to keep opening, to keep developing qualities and actions that may feel unfamiliar to us. None of us does these things to perfection. That is why we call our efforts practice. We practice generosity towards each other, and we practice it towards ourselves over and over again. The power of giving grows until it becomes like a great flowing waterfall, until it becomes so natural to us that is who we are.
And so it is. And so we rest in this place of knowing who we are, that we are that great flowing waterfall of spirit, that we are the giving and the receiving, that all of this plays within us, and that all we need to do is remember our true nature. So let us sing together, I am remembering who I am, as we get in touch with that infinite nature that abides within us. And as we get in touch with our own infinite nature, we recognize that every single person sitting in this sanctuary is also the infinite presence of the Most High. And as we know it for ourselves in this sanctuary, we know it for all beings, animate and inanimate, human and animal, in the planet, in the universe, and beyond. I am remembering. We are fully present to the I Am presence within us and around us. And we breathe in deeply. And then exhale, opening our eyes in love with what is, as it is, and so it is.
Good morning. When I saw Bonnie's pink slippers, I put mine on. This is a song that I co-wrote with my husband, Greg Sims, and the wonderful Jane Garrett for the Center for Spiritual Living in Nashville, Music City Center. It's called Center of the Heart. And when we come around to the choruses, it's a call and response. I'd love for you to join with me if you feel like singing out a little bit. So let's take a nice deep centering breath. And as we exhale, we let go of anything that no longer serves us. Here we are at the perfect time and the perfect place, showing up with an open mind and all this space. Anything can happen here. We all play a part. Here's an invitation to the center of the heart. Here's where you come in. Take my hand. Here we go. Here we go. What's the plan? What's the plan? We don't have to know. Take a breath. Take a breath. Make a start. And this is with me. Welcome home to the center of the heart. Very nice. It's such a perfect place to start, and wiser than we know. I have learned to trust the art of letting go. Anything can happen here. We all play our part. We're all in this together at the center of the heart. Ready? Take my hand. Here we go. What's the plan? We don't have to know. Take a breath. Make a start. With me. Welcome home to the center of the heart. One more time. Welcome home to the center of the heart. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, welcome everybody. It's good to see you. Here we are on Pajama Sunday for some of us. And the name of my message today is Sweet Dreams, and I'll tell you a little bit about what that means to me. I'm going to start by talking to you about something that was written in this book that we're featuring this month. It's called Loving Kindness. It's by Sharon Salzberg, and it's a beautiful book about the Buddhist teaching. Very, very clear, lots of stories, really easy to understand. Anyway, she wrote about this master teacher from Thailand. He was a master teacher from Thailand who taught meditation and spirituality. I like to call him a Thai master. You get it? Remember the Thai master? Right? Anyway, perhaps not everybody got the joke, but I liked it. Anyway, the Thai master came to America, and he observed something that was striking to him about the difference between Eastern spirituality and Western spirituality. He said in the East that generosity is the starting place. And from generosity, a sense of ethics or morality evolves, and then after that, there's meditation and insight. He said it's exactly the opposite in the West. In the West, we like the sort of going within, the kind of dramatic hit that we get from meditation and insight, and then comes a sense of ethics and morality, and then almost as an afterthought, there comes this thing called generosity. I don't know whether he's right or not. What do I know? I'm here standing in my pajamas talking to a congregation. But it does kind of make sense to me, because it seems to me that in our culture, we do sometimes think of generosity as an afterthought versus from what he was describing as the starting place, the place from which everything pours through us and pours within us. So there's this idea that generosity is a starting place, and then there's our relationship with generosity. Last summer, I took a course with Nipun Mehta, who is a speaker that has come and spoken at this church numerous times, and he's what I would like to call a generosity expert, a generosity guru. He has this whole organization of something like 500,000 volunteers that does acts of kindness all over the world, and it is a global organization. So I took this course with him and some of his colleagues and several facilitators and 10 or 12 students from all over the world, India and Europe and South America, and we would convene every month on a conference call. And in one of the conference calls, we discussed this video that Nipun had us watch, which was a man that lived in New Zealand, I believe it was, and he had a pay-it-forward soup kitchen. But he took his generosity to another level where he had in his home, he had his front door, and on the front door there was a sign that said, "The door is always unlocked. I don't have much, but if you want something, come on in and take it." You know, and we heard that on the conference call, and I don't think I was the only one who was going, "Well, I'm not doing that, no way." What about my flat screen TV that I love, and my computer, and, you know, my pink slippers? What if they were to take that? So I think some of us, one of the facilitators, his name was Birju, he sensed the tension in the call, and he said, okay, the point of this is not to get you to try and be more like this guy. The point of view is not for you to put a sign on your door or to take your door off your hinges completely and say, come on in, whatever I have is yours. The point is just the idea of stretching into greater generosity. He said, if you try and do it like this guy does it, if you try and be generous just like him so that you can be enough, that's the symptom of a greedy mind, right? I would say it's a symptom of a scarce mind too, because scarcity and greed are very closely linked. So he said the thing for us to do is just to look at our patterns of generosity and see if we want to stretch a little bit. The next logical, right, generous action that we can do. So that's why we're talking about sweet dreams today. Because stretching into greater generosity gives us the life that we want. There is so much power in generosity. When Nipun was here during the summer, he spoke on at Sunday service, and then afterwards we did a question and answer session. And many people had questions. What about my relationship? What should I do about that? He would say, well, I think the answer for that is that you should practice small acts of kindness and generosity. And then someone else would say, I'm having this trouble with my job and I can't find work. What should I do? And Nipun said, I think for that you should practice small acts of kindness and generosity. And finally, after about an hour, Nipun said to us, okay, who else has a question so I can say, I think you should practice small acts of kindness and generosity. It's a powerful thing that changes us. It gives us great freedom. Sharon Salzberg in the book talked about how one time when she was teaching in Asia, she was working with a bunch of students, and she confessed to them that she sometimes had resistance to generosity. That sometimes she would have an idea and she would say, oh yes, I should give this, and immediately the voice of objection about why she shouldn't give it would come up. I experienced that with our silent auction that we had just a little while ago. Did anybody else bid on their own basket? Did. I made what I thought was a really beautiful basket, obviously because I really liked it and really wanted it, and then I bought it. But it gets worse because I was in a bidding war with someone, so it got a little pricey, and then after I bought it, I said to myself, you know, that other person really wanted that basket. Shouldn't I just give it to her? And I went, oh, no, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Don't make a basket, then buy it for God's sake, and then give it away. That's just, who does that? That's ridiculous. But I decided to be more like Sharon Salzberg, and I did. I gave the basket away to the person who was bidding on it with me, and it was such a joy to give it to her because it was a dog toy basket, and she brought me pictures of her dog enjoying the toys, and that was so worth it. It was so worth it. It was so much fun. So the thing about generosity is that it really does open us in ways that things that we don't even know need to be opened within us. You know, one of the things that I like about generosity, in the book she says that it gives us great freedom and great liberation, but to me it feels more like opening the heart. There are places in our heart that are closed that we don't even know are closed. And when we're generous, there's like this surprise light that comes through us that shines the light on something new, a new discovery about ourselves. I think of generosity as a way of aligning with our true nature. When we are generous, we align with that which is infinite and pure. When we are not generous, it's as if we're saying, I believe in something that is finite and impure. And the truth is that we are that which is infinite and pure, so why not just align with it? It also reminds me of, that it's so powerful that it reminds me of this book that we taught at the beginning of the year called It's All God, the Flowers and the Fertilizer. And in this book, Walter Starkey is the author. He talks a lot about this thing called the double thread. And he specifically is talking about the two major commandments of Jesus who said, love God, which is to love spirituality, but also to love your neighbor as you love yourself. There's really three commandments in there. Love God, love your neighbor, love yourself, right? The practice of generosity aligns us with the nature of God, with the principle of God, that God is constantly giving. But when we actually are generous, when we put that generosity into action, we are enacting that double thread. We are enacting the two commandments of Jesus, where we are actually loving our neighbor and loving ourselves at the same time. So in that way, the practice of generosity aligns us with something great, but it brings it into a deep level. It is the Word becoming flesh and dwelling within us. The Word of generosity becomes flesh and dwells within us. It is spirit merging with matter. And that's all we need to do here, is find a way to shift our minds to understand that it's all spirit. And we do that through enacting spirit, through matter. That makes sense? Good. It made sense to Becky and a few others too. It's good. Okay. Can I hear an amen? Amen? All right, I feel better now. Thank you. Thank you. So, when I was telling the story about my dog basket at the silent auction, I displayed some of my resistance to generosity that I have, and certainly it is significant at times. I often stop myself from being generous just because of lots of reasons. I'll go into some of those more later. But it's really great for us to take a skillful look at some of our resistance to generosity, some basic principles. In Loving Kindness, Sharon Salzberg, the author, tells a story about one of her friends that was going on a trip to India. And he was looking at his reservations and thinking about, wow, it's a really uncomfortable trip. Has anyone here ever taken like a 30-hour plane trip or whatever? It's pretty painful. In India, you get to stop after 15 hours or so, and then you wait around, and then you go for another 6 hours or so. But it takes a really long time because of layovers and such. So he's looking at the itinerary and saying, you know, I'm looking at the cost of business class, and business class is looking pretty good right now. So it's not that much more. I think I'll upgrade to business class. And he did. And Sharon said that as soon as he was firmly settled in the idea of business class, he started saying to himself, yeah, business class is okay, but let's look at first class. There's something within us that always says more, 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 more. Remember the seagulls in Finding Nemo? Mine, right? Same thing. More, more, more. Can I have some more, please? More, more. Anybody do that at Thanksgiving? Right? Hence the pajamas, right? So there's that idea of always wanting to find more, and I wanted to read something that she said about that. She writes, the potential for dissatisfaction is infinite, because in this world of change, there is no end to arising and passing away, and the possibilities for comparing and wanting are endless. And she also writes that we grasp, cling, mold things into being exactly as we want them, and then we struggle to keep them that way. It's kind of the opposite of generosity. The other thing about our unskillfulness with generosity is the idea of clinging to things. That's more of the mine. I want to cling to this thing. And we cling to all kinds of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be money. It can be service. Sometimes we don't want to make that extra gesture to be helpful to someone. We can withhold our love. We can withhold our forgiveness. We can withhold our authenticity. How many of us here have withheld our authenticity because we're afraid that we're going to make somebody angry at us, right? Yeah, I didn't expect you to have to raise your hands, but good, good. I just feel like getting all Baptist, like, sinners, raise your hands if you, right. Yeah. So there's all kinds of ways of withholding, and that's part of our new relationship with skillful generosity, is to look at where we're saying more, or to look at where we're saying mine, and then see if we can do something different. See if we can cultivate a really deeply skillful relationship with generosity. I love the word skillful. She says it a lot. Reverend Kusala, our Buddhist monk that comes and speaks, says it a lot, and I just love the idea of being skilled at generosity. So I'm going to share with you 2 ways from this book that she suggests that we become skillful with generosity. One way is to acknowledge where in the past, or right now, we are already being skillful with generosity. What have you done that is kind? What have you surrendered? What have you given up? What attitude that was keeping you in a tight withholding place have you been able to let go of? How have you been skillful in generosity? I'm sure that if we really think about it, there are lots and lots and lots of ways that we have already been skillful in generosity. And there are lots of ways that we have been skillful in generosity, but there are still ways that we can stretch into being greater skill masters, time masters at generosity. Last summer when I was taking that course with Nipun Mehta, one of the facilitators, Birju, I mentioned him already, at the very end of the course, it was a Monday, the very last Monday we were going to meet, and he said, "Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to tell you all something. I'm getting married on Saturday." Ding, ding. "I'm getting married on Saturday," he said. So we ended the call, said goodbye, and then, of course, I emailed him like a fool saying, "Birju, where are you registered? I'd like to get you a present." The reason I say like a fool, because it was Birju, this expert at generosity. And of course, he wrote back to me and said, "Oh, we're not registered anywhere. We want you to do an act of kindness in our name and then tell us about it." So I had this intuition. He was marrying a registered nurse. I'm a former nurse, and I know, what it used to be like when I was working as a nurse, and how stressful it can be sometimes, and how nice it is to get a surprise sometimes when you're a nurse. So I decided to get a basket full of goodies from Bath and Body Shop, of smelly hand lotion and bath gel and all kinds of stuff like that, and wrap them up and give them to a group, a hospital group or some type of medical group, and let the nurses have them if they were needed a pick-me-up or having a bad day or what have you. I thought it was a great idea. And then, of course, 5 minutes later, "Oh, that's a stupid idea. I'm not doing that. They'll laugh at me. Who does that? I won't have enough for everybody. It won't be right." See, the list of excuses, right? This is what we do. We stop our own generosity. Well, fortunately, and what a wonder that it is that she is here today wearing her pink pajama bottoms, Lonnie Cassidy, our board president, love the outfit. I went for a walk with her, and I told her the idea and how stupid it was. And she said, "Oh, no, that's a great idea. In fact, there was a sale at Bath & Body, and I just got all this stuff for really cheap, and I'm going to give it to you." And so she did, and then when I realized that there was still sale potential, I got online and I got a whole lot more stuff. And then I realized that I'm not very good at putting packages and stuff together, so I engaged somebody who is, Miss Annette Bennett, sitting back there in her tiger stripe pajamas. And she put it together in a beautiful basket, each one having a smile card on it, and a card that told the story about Birju and Anne-Marie, his wife, getting married, and how we were paying it forward to them. So it was involving all these different people. And then, because Lonnie was so kind to give me all of the bath products, I asked her, "Where should we give this? You decide. You decide to the group of people that we should give this to." And as you know, we lost a practitioner this year who passed away from cancer, and she was on hospice. And Lonnie said, "Why don't you give it to the hospice that took care of Judy Rogers?" And I did. I walked in there with this basket of goodies feeling like freaking Santa Claus. And the note about Birju and Anne-Marie was on there, and I just gave it to the receptionist, and you could just see her whole face light up. What is this? What is this? It's a present. I'm not going to even tell you who I am. It's just a present. Read the note. You'll get it. I took a picture. I sent it to Anne-Marie and Birju, and they cried. They said it was a beautiful wedding present. And the point of this is not to talk about how great I am, because I was just allowing something spiritual to move through me, and it took a little village to make it happen, and it took encouragement to get me past my resistance to generosity. But it was just so beautiful. It stretched me into a greater appreciation and a greater realization of what generosity really is. Generosity is connection. Generosity is sharing. Generosity is making the acquaintance of a total stranger that lives up in Berkeley and his wife with an unknown hospice nurse that's getting a bottle of lotion someday when she has a bad time with a patient. That's what generosity is. And what it does is it weaves this web of connection that we all share, and it shines light on it. And when we get to participate in it, that is beautiful. That is skillful generosity. Some of you may be sitting here thinking, well, I don't know, I haven't done anything like that. I'm not sure if I'm up to skillful generosity. But it doesn't matter how big the gesture is. It doesn't matter how small the gesture is. It just matters that you do it. And the truth is that anybody sitting here that has donated to this center, whether past, future, or present, do you know that your money reaches around the world? I'm going to read you a list of the places that we tithe to, because our center gives money away every quarter. Oh, darn it, I forgot the dang list. Where's that list? I know it. It's on my computer at home. Call me. No. No, I'll tell you some of the places. I know, like last year we had some college students that were leaving their families last year, and there was that bus crash with the students that were on their trip to Humboldt. And so we gave money for the funerals for those children. And we gave money to Mercy Corps this year. Lonnie suggested that also, to help with the people that were devastated by the earthquake in Nepal. We give to some of our guest speakers that are inspiring. We give to some of the congregants confidentially that are particularly inspiring, that serve us in different ways. We give to local places. We've given to the Ojai Story Festival. We've given to, Food Share, and Family to Family, which is a homeless feeding program. We've given to the animals. We've given to Spark in Santa Paula, which is the no-kill shelter. We've given to Camarillo. This year we gave 2 donations, one in honor of Andrew Both to the Art Museum in Ventura, because it was one of his favorite places that he supported brilliantly. And we also gave money to Doberman Rescue, which is where Judy Rogers got her sweet little dog, Alice, that was with her till the end. So the point is that if you're giving, it doesn't matter how much it is, it's just that you're giving, and to know that your giving in this center is creating a web of connection that reaches all around this community, all around this church, and all around the world. We're very careful about trying to give locally and globally. Yay! Yay for you! Yeah. The other thing that I want to share with you, another idea about how to give skillfully, is something that Sharon Salzberg recommends. And she suggests that at any moment when you're feeling petty or feeling insecure or feeling anything other than in the flow of the generous nature of spirit, is to simply ask yourself, who's calling? No. Simply ask yourself, what is it that I really need in this moment? It may be, I need a hamburger or something. Okay, if it's something like that, take it a little deeper. What is it that I really need in this moment? Take it to some type of quality that is sort of universal that we all need. The ones that come up the most for me is a sense of control, a sense of security, and a sense of approval. I want people to approve of me and like me and validate me. And I'm 57 years old, and I still want that. I experienced this recently, every day, but I experienced this in a big way, the healing of this recently when I was, I'm currently participating in a writing seminar. Here and there I take writing classes online just to help freshen up my voice as a speaker and a writer. And I'm taking one now with really, really great writers. They're scary good writers. And if any of you do creative work, whether it's writing or painting or acting or singing or anything, parenting, there is this fear that you're going to put something out there and people are going to criticize it, right? I think I told you a couple months ago, I was in a writing class, and these are students from all over the world, and one of the students was, I think he was either FBI or an NCIS agent, like dealing with serial killers and stuff. He was afraid to put his writing online. And I'm like, okay, if this secret agent is afraid, that's really scary, So anyway, I'm taking this writing class. It's going to deep places. We're supposed to be writing about stuff that's hidden and very personal. And I'm like, oh, let's talk about every Sunday. But anyway, let's put it out there for these people that don't really get me. And feeling like I'm about to be judged. And asking myself, what is it that you really need here in this moment? Oh, I need approval. I need to be validated. And then you know what you do with that? You start giving what you want to receive. Because we were supposed to give feedback on each other's writings. And I said, oh my gosh, I am in a huge position of spiritual power right here and now because I have the heart of the minister and I can look at what these people are writing no matter how embarrassing or no matter how bold it is or no matter how raunchy it is, and I can see past all of the appearances of their fear and their self-disgust and their shame, and I can see what's really there and I can speak about it to them. And I did. And you know what happened to my own writing? I didn't care what anybody thought. It's a beautiful, powerful place to be, to give what we wish to receive. It is so profound, and it's something that I highly recommend, finding opportunities to practice that. It's one of the best things we can do. So here we are on Pajama Sunday, about to wrap things up. I'm going to read you one more quote from the book, and then we're all going to give something together. This is a quote from the Buddha. And the Buddha said, if you knew as I do, the power of giving, you would not let a single meal pass without sharing some of it. So we have people in this center that feed us every week. And I'm not sure if you know how much work it is that they have to shop and they have to chop. They have to cut the cheese, as I always say. I know you're all waiting for that joke. Okay, maybe not all of you. They do such a great job. One of them is not here today, but on behalf of Linda Drevenstedt and Mia Felesen, I would like Mia to come up here and collect some gift certificates that you have all given through your donations to both of them. So Mia, come here. I want to talk about you. I want to embarrass you a little more. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. I'm going to make her stay up here because I want to talk about, again, I've mentioned that it is a challenging job, and they do it with such grace and such kindness and such joy. And of course we have to acknowledge Keith, who got this whole, look at Keith crying over there. He's like, oh, Keith is crying over there. I've already told him I didn't bring him a present today, but I gave him lots of presents last year when he was doing it full time. So these are cards, they're gift cards, and Mia, I know, knowing you'll probably spend it all on dog food, but you can spend it on whatever you want. Perhaps you could even take your husband out to a restaurant and let somebody wait on you. The other thing is that don't mix this up. Make sure you give Linda hers and yours, because I have some vocabulary words for you. She's Danish, and sometimes she doesn't know all American slang, so I teach her some of the choicer words in America. So here you are. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just leave you with this one thought. So much of the time, we're walking around in our stuff and just saying, what is it that I'm going to get from this moment? Let's switch that around to what is it that I'm going to give to this moment? I promise you, your life will change. You'll be connected to that divine presence that is generosity itself, and you will have the sweetest dreams ever. Let's do that now. Let us pray. And so we turn within just in this feeling of goodwill. And thank you so much for that standing ovation. That was an ovation to generosity, not only to Mia and to Linda and to Keith, but it's an ovation to the Spirit of God that is generosity itself. So right here and right now, I connect with that Spirit. I know it to be my own. I know that it is infinite and endless, and because it is infinite and endless and omnipresent, it has to be all that is. And so I am one with that Spirit, as is everybody in this room and everybody that we hold in our hearts, that the whole realm of material existence is one with that Spirit. We just rest in that awareness and know it to be so and trust it and name it and call it good because it is so good. So today in this service, I trust that our hearts have been opened, that we have been exposed to a new way of being in the world, a way that stretches us, even if we are generous already, into greater and greater expressions of generosity, greater ways of knowing our oneness with God, and greater ways to make that word of oneness flesh through our actions and through our thoughts and our deeds. I know that lives are changed, that relationships are made whole, that finances fall into place beautifully, that jobs are found, that jobs that need to be released are released, that children are happy and healthy, that we are happy and healthy, and that we are all embedded and immersed in this great sea of wholeness and holiness that is the truth of who we are. So I am so grateful for this beautiful congregation of love and generosity, so grateful for all of the good that we do in the world, so grateful for all of the transformation that I know is already occurring through each of us. I am grateful for this teaching, for all of the teachings of the great religions of the world. I bless all of them. I bless churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, and ashrams. I bless fundamentalists and atheists. And with a heart that is so filled with the blessedness of today, of this present moment, which is perfect, I simply say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, God, and I release these words into the mystery, and together we say, and so it is.
Thank you for my health and healing, shining with your inner light. Thank you for each happy feeling, helping me to know what's right. Thank you for your inspiration. May I always hear your voice. Thank you for your gentle guidance, showing me my highest